Let me start again. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the May 11th, 2021, 1:30 p.m. meeting of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board here today at the Laughlin Regional Government Center. I'll go ahead and read some notes into the record for compliance, and our notes are: social distancing will be practiced during this meeting. You'll be asked to keep appropriate spacing of 6 feet away from other meeting attendees. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The council or board may combine 2 or more agenda items for consideration, and the board may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item at any time. No action may be taken on any matter not listed on today's agenda. All planning and zoning matters heard at this meeting are forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners Zoning Commission, known as the BCC, or the Clark County Planning Commission, the PC, for final action. Please take a moment and turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices. And that goes for the board too, because I frequently forget. Okay. And let's see, please take all private conversations outside the room here. Within 48 hours, advance request a sign language interpreter or other reasonable efforts to assist and accommodate persons with physical disabilities may be made available by calling 702-455-3530 TDD at 702-385-7486 or Relay Nevada toll-free at 800-326-6868. Supporting material provided to the board members for this meeting may be requested from Tammy Harris at or by calling 702-298-0828 and is or will be available on the county's website at www.clarkcountynv.gov. If you do not wish to attend this meeting in person, but would like to comment on an item appearing on this agenda or provide general public comment, please submit your comments to tammy.harris, Harris, at clarkcountynv.gov before 10:30 a.m. the day of the meeting. Please include your name, address, and identify which item you are commenting on and your comment. Comments will be read into the record. No comments over 3 minutes in length will be read. All comments received will be compiled into a document and shared as part of the meeting's minutes. Present today, your board is, and I'll do a roll call, Pamela Walker. Here. Here. Herman Walker.
Here.
No relation. Fred Doughton.
Here.
Here. Kathleen Haas, Vice Chair.
Here.
Here. And Kathy Oakes, Chair. All present accounted for. We have 5 members. We do have a quorum. Our secretary is Tammy Harris, and she can be reached at 702-298-0828 and at Tammy, Tammy, .HARRIS at clarkcountynv.gov. We've gone ahead and called this meeting to order. If I can please have you stand for our invocation given by Doug Wesley and our Pledge of Allegiance. Pamela, if you could lead us in that. Thank you.
2,000 years ago, Jesus came to this earth as the Messiah of Israel. And a lot of people are expecting him to be the guy that overthrew Rome. He was supposed to overthrow Rome and restart a new world, but he didn't come for that reason. We all know he died on a cross. And the purpose of that was to die for us, to give us the opportunity to be in a new kingdom, a kingdom that he's been building now for 2,000 years. And everybody's invited into it. Black, white, yellow, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your religious background is. Everybody's invited. Everybody's loved. He's been establishing this now for 2,000 years. Well, he's coming again. You've heard that. Well, he's coming again really just to get that group of people off the planet. Everybody that's involved in his kingdom gets to be taken off the planet to save us from what's coming, the craziness that's coming after that. And when that's over with, he's coming back for 1,000 years. So the invitation is, it's like getting on the ark. The invitation is get into his kingdom now. So when he comes to get us, which could be today, tomorrow, you can be part of it. You probably have heard of this, and this is just going to help you add to your thoughts about the whole thing. Father, I pray that everybody here does hear that, and everybody here realizes that you love them. Jesus died for them and wants them to be in his kingdom. I love everybody here. I love everybody in Laughlin very much, and I'd love to see all of us together. When that trumpet blows, we're all together going with you. In the name of Jesus, amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay. All right, so we'll move forward to item number 2, which is the public comment. I do have some items to read for us today. Public comment is a period devoted to comments by the general public about items on this or today's agenda. No discussion, action, or vote may be taken on this agenda item. You'll be afforded the opportunity to speak on individual public hearing items at the time they are presented. If you wish to speak to the board council about items within its jurisdiction but not appearing on this agenda, you must wait until the comments by the general public period listed at the end of this agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to our speaker's podium here and state your name and address, and please spell your name for the record. It's much easier for Tammy to record that correctly if you spell it for her. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote. If you do not wish to attend this meeting in person but would like to comment on an item appearing on today's agenda, please submit your comments to Tammy, Harris, HARRIS, at clarkcountynv.gov before 10:30 a.m. the day of the meeting. Please include your name, address, and identify which agenda you are commenting on and your comments. Comments will be read into the record. No comments over 3 minutes in length will be read. All comments received will be compiled into a document and shared as part of the meeting's minutes. Okay, so I have before us 2 sets of minutes. If there's any questions or discussion, I'll be asking for approval of our April 13th meeting and our April 27th meeting. I have a...
You have to deal with these.
Oh, shoot, howdy, you're right. Thank you. I just went flying right by. I said I had comments to read, but I forgot them. Okay, just a moment. Let me find... Is there any comments from the audience while I gather the written comments we have? Anybody who'd like to make a statement or make a comment on items that are to appear before us today on today's agenda? Okay. If not, I'll go ahead and read a letter that was submitted to the board, and this is addressed as follows from Patricia S. Fisher. Madam Chair and members of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board, my name is Patricia S. Fisher, F-I-S-H-E-R. I live at 3179 Quail Song Drive, and I am commenting on 2 items on your May 11th, 2019 agenda. This was the May 11th agenda today, so this is item 7, number 2, Master Plan and Development Code. Concerning the development of Mojave Generating Station site, I wish to verify that Clark County has assessed whether any environmental remediation steps are required of the utility owners and site and purchasers, if any, either A, pursuant to the settlement of litigation initiated by the Grand Canyon Trust, tribal interests, and the Sierra Club against the Mojave Generating Station, or B, under federal, state, or local environmental regulations. I believe the county should keep the Ltab informed of relevant information on ownership and sales efforts. And personally, I'm in favor of development of this site, especially any development which provides quality jobs for our residents. So to encapsulate, she's asking for updates on the environmental remediation steps, which were called for to that property site that the LTAB be made aware of, which I don't think we've had an update on that from the developer for quite some time. Okay, and then moving on to item 7, number 1, which is the Motor Sports Park and Event Center. My comment relates only to the proposed loan, no amount listed, for the Fort Mojave Development Fund, otherwise known as the FMDF, for a feasibility study for this existing project. While it may be obvious that this project is the sort of development for which the FMDF support should be made available, I nevertheless urge the Ltab to use this as an opportunity to establish a framework for approval of any loans or grants from the FMDF. I believe the Ltab should consider the following for any future loan or grant from taxpayers' FMDF money. 1A, are there any personal financial conflicts of interest on the part of those proposing or voting on the loan or grant? B, are there any private parties who are expected to benefit from the loan or grant? Number 2, what is the estimated total cost of the project, construction and ongoing maintenance? What portion of those costs will the FMDF be expected to fund in addition to the loan or grant under consideration? Who has accepted responsibility for completing the project? Okay, so here she's outlaying a framework which has not been established at this point going forward from use of our Fort Mojave Development Fund. And 3, she says, how will the project benefit our community? And I believe we're having a presentation which will hopefully answer those questions. Number 4, Clark County should formally record any loan and accrued interest, if any. Will the loan be forgiven if the project does not move forward? Note, periodically, at least every 2 years at least, I believe the Ltab should receive a report on the status of all outstanding loans from the FMDF. I believe, for example, that in connection with the South Casino Drive Special Improvement District project, the previous Ltab approved a $60,000 loan on 8/13/2019 for appraisals, and a loan of up to $800,000, 5/14/2019, for GC Wallace Consulting Engineering, she has it listed as GCW, on the water and sewer portion of the South Casino Drive project. The stated expectation was that these loans would be repaid through private landowners, SIDS, at some point because of the benefit of the project to that private property and, of course, those property owners. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. Respectfully submitted, Patricia S. Fisher. And I do believe she has a valid point on some of these. And I believe one component that's been missing is just getting reports from Clark County Finance as far as the progression of the SID, the progression of what has already been authorized. But I agree, a framework. However, I honestly do believe Clark County has that framework. We're just not aware of it. I believe that they do have I'm sure many regulations and hoops that have to be jumped through for that. It's just we're not aware of them. So if they would maybe make us aware of them, of what the process is, then we would know and we could inform Patricia and other people that want to know. All right. So now I guess we can do the approval of the minutes. Am I right? Okay, just like checking in. All right, approval of the minutes for April 13th, 2021 and April 27th, 2021. We did have 2 meetings last month, which is like, I think the first time in 5 years or something. So is there any discussion, any changes or anything on the 13th and 27th that
I
needs?
make a motion that we accept them.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion carries. We have approval of the minutes. Okay, and then moving forward to item number 4 is approval of the agenda for today, May 11th, 2021, to hold, combine, or delete any items. And this is for possible action. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion to move item 7.1, that's the LVCVA presentation, to go before item 5.
Okay, in front of informational items, receive our report on the Motorsports Park first.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I could have opened for discussion, but I thought that was pretty simple. Okay, All right, so then we will be moving forward, and let me just give a little bit of a background here. So the agenda item that we have has listed should be read as receive a presentation from LVCVA and Dale, how is it pronounced? Ailes, Vice President of Development for Las Vegas Events regarding a proposed motor sports park event center on public facility land owned by Clark County. And this is requesting the support of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board. When the agenda item was drawn up, one of my concerns and what I asked to be input in writing was what I felt were the things that would need to happen to make this into fruition. But it's often not the way that we draw up agenda items for this. So if a motion and if the board is in support of it, the agenda item would read just simply what I've already read. The other portion is kind of the process that these events go through, or these projects go through, which is for a long-term lease with Clark County and approve a request for use from the Fort Mojave Development Funds as a loan to fund the feasibility study to be paid when bonds are sold for the project and for possible action. That probably should not have been in the agenda item. However, a motion going forward, those would be the proverbial hoops that the project would have to jump through. Oftentimes, agenda items would have to come back to this board on 3 separate occasions. Number 1, to support it. Number 2, to identify public facility lands and get that approved. And number 3, to authorize use from our Fort Mojave Development Fund. Me being a business person, I just look to expedite the process because I don't like back and forth, having our proposed projects come to us on 3 separate occasions. So I felt that a motion to be able to get the ball and roll with it and expedite these processes, those other items would be done. And so that was my exact wording that I requested to be put in to this agenda item. So basically, the agenda item should read, receive a presentation from the LVCVA and Dale Ellis, Vice President of Development for Las Vegas Events regarding a proposed motorsports park event center on public facility land owned by Clark County and requesting support of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board. Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and open the floor and the podium here to our presenters. And if I could just please remind you to address the board. And it's not that you're not addressing the public, it's just for video purposes so that our video room can, focus on you and stuff like that.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. I would like to introduce, as the President and CEO of the Laughlin Tourism Commission, Jackie Wallin, W-A-L-L-I-N, in the Laughlin Chamber of Commerce office building on Casino Drive. I'd like to introduce Dale Ailes, but I would first like to make one correction in this agenda item in that he's not related to LVCVA. I would like to present him as Dale Ailes, VP of Development for Las Vegas Events. And Las Vegas Events is a partner of LTC in providing townwide events that increase tourism to our destination. So Dale Ailes will go through his presentation for you.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. Las Vegas Events. For those who aren't familiar with Las Vegas Events, we are a private, non-for-profit organization. Our focus is we're funded through the hotel room tax. So our focus is to secure major signature events for the destination that drive tourism. So the primary focus for us is driving room nights into the destination. So although we have an allocation for Las Vegas, we also had a dedicated budget allocation for Laughlin events. So working with all the properties here and the LTC, we work on a list of events for the destination in Laughlin. We also have that for Mesquite. The Laughlin Event Center, that opened in 2014. So this outdoor event center has allowed the destination to host between 8 and 12 concert events a year,
with seating capacity over 10,000. Prior to this, and I think some of us were all here, prior to this, what did we do? We had one concert a year, a town-wide concert in March. And the cost of production, all those costs that we went into producing that, but we got one show because we didn't have the facility. A similar opportunity exists with motorsport events. Laughlin has quite a history in hosting motorsport events over the years. Promoters want to bring events here. Promoters connect with the destination, and motorsports fans connect with the destination. I think this is an excellent fit for Laughlin. Back in 2015, Las Vegas Events, we had some clients very interested in building a motorsports park in Laughlin. The major challenge for us and what stopped this from happening was securing a long-term lease on the land. We had a motorsports park developer, we had a venue manager, and then we had a funding source for the project. In this last year, with Golden Entertainment acquiring Aquarius at Edgewater and having a relationship with them in Las Vegas, they had asked me to dust off that plan for the motorsports park from 2015. I've also met with Matt Laughlin. Matt was very involved, and his family was involved in that process in 2015. And with Matt Laughlin, Matt asked me to get in touch and look at this Fort Mojave Development Fund. Jackie also shared the presentation that you guys have with the LTC. All the hotel properties in Laughlin have also asked, hey, we want to push forward and look into the possibility of making this happen. So understand Las Vegas Events, myself and our staff, we have the experience and expertise to connect the property parties. We're going to connect the proper parties for this project. We are not the funding source for the project. So we're not looking, we don't have the dollars to do this, but we do have the expertise of working together to try and connect the pieces to try and make this happen. Yeah, and like Kathy had mentioned, requesting the support from the Laughlin Town Advisory Board today. We want to share with you, get your support, and really see if we can go to the next step in terms of looking at piece of land and entering into a feasibility study. A couple highlights from the presentation I think that you all have a chance to share. I'm going to go through this quickly and make sure if there's any questions. Again, the vision, to continue to position Laughlin as a successful small market special event destination with a diverse line of events by cultivating new opportunities, including a developmental motorsports park. The goals, again, drive visitation, introduce new guests, drive repeat visitors, maximize the event opportunities with a permanent event site, now between the Laughlin Event Center and a motorsports park, two venues, two assets for the destination to drive visitation. And for us, our focus has always been connecting with the hotel properties, but this motorsports park would do far more than that, and that's connect with the community. Venue details, we got to do a little bit more of a dive on this, but looking at competitive analysis around the country and other motorsports park, a semi-permanent facility would feature a closed track contained within property lines. Currently looking at 11 events for the event schedule for the year. These would just be the major events. These events would normally take place you do the practice runs on a Thursday, racing on Friday night, Saturday, and potentially Sunday. A semi-permanent motorsports park would also be utilized throughout the weeks with practice runs, and all these off-road different events are all looking for practice sites. So we really think this could be utilized throughout the year. Seating capacity, again, looking at 5,000. So the amenities there, couple of the events that I want to run through real quick. Short course off-road racing, that's taking place. Desert off-road events. Then you get into motocross, the motorcycles, BMX racing, very popular right now. Monster truck, been very involved with monster truck in my days working at Thomas the Mack Center and Sam Boyd Stadium. Working with Feld Entertainment, we've hosted the Monster Jam World Finals. An incredible event. It's young, it's middle-aged, it's kid. It connects with everyone there. UTV racing, one of the most popular styles of racing today, UTV. We do host the UTV World Championships in Laughlin already. Mud runs, obstacle course racing, the LTC, this has been a passion point for them. This year, looking to bring Tough Mudder event into the destination. Rock crawling, rally cross. So just an idea that, it's an idea, but we're backing it up with, these are events that are out there. And another thing I really want to share is the competitive analysis. Are what we're doing, is this just a dream or does it actually exist? Absolutely exists. Wild Horse Motorsports Park in Chandler, Glen Allen Speedway in Southern California, formerly Lake Elsinore down in Southern California. The model of all models, Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri, that's the one, the model. But I think when we look at all these, when we're doing all these races, you want a series. So when you're doing short course, they're going to have a series. What's their schedule look like? So having Laughlin as part of that series, we're in the Southern California leading into a Utah. We're a nice fit for those series, and then a lot of those major events like Lucas Oil, they'll do TV broadcasts. So we'll get TV along with this. But I want to share some of the competitive analysis that's out there. Looking at the land that potentially may be available, I think then we get a feasibility study, but let's get the experts involved who look, experience in developing one of these, also venue management, how would we do these? But I think the key to success will be customizing our facility to fit our destination. So what works well in Missouri is not the fit in Laughlin, but let's, everyone coming together and understanding what we have available and working together to customize this. Again, I'm a huge fan of what Anthony Marnell did at the Laughlin Event Center and coming out of pocket to build that event center on behalf of the destination, and the impact that those concert events, the branding and the marketing, it took us to a different level. When you have Luke Bryan, the entertainer of the year, performing in our destination, we have Toby Keith, we've had Kid Rock, incredible. It just elevates the branding for our destination. I think the same can be had with the development of Motorsports Park. The events will come here. It is a good fit. It connects with our hotel properties, but I also think it connects in the community. Are there any questions?
Just so I'm clear, when you talk about circuit, if you go back and you look at some of just past the events, when you show some of the other courses that are out there.
Yep.
So we have, and just from a geographical standpoint, so you have these events going on at Chandler, Arizona, Southern California, Lake Elsinore, Riverside, and then proposing one in Laughlin, and then one in Utah. So that's really just a geographical drive for these particular events that are already happening. We would be an additional outlet to the circuit that already exists.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be at a competitive advantage. I think when you look at, when we were doing this plan in 2015, the competitive advantage when we're working with a promoter to bring their event here, again, Las Vegas events, we have dollars that are allocated through the hotel room tax to help offset promoters and limit the risk in bringing the event here. So when we can dedicate a sponsorship to bring some of these events here, also working with the LTC back in our plan in 2015, we would ask the hotels to commit to so many tickets. So the hotels get the first right to buy a certain level of tickets. Well, again, if we only have 5,000 tickets to sell and the hotels are willing to commit to 2,000 for some of these major events, then the promoter only has the risk for 3,000. Again, we're at a competitive advantage here by all working together versus other events that don't have this type of organization in place.
And you already have discussed this with like Golden Entertainment, Riverside, Caesars Entertainment, some of the stakeholders here, and they're for this project.
I have personally had multiple discussions with Golden Entertainment and then also with Matt Laughlin and his executive team at Riverside. Then Jackie and the LTC, she has been in communication with the rest of the properties.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, you are a nonprofit, you're privately funded, and the majority of your funding comes from the hotel room tax. And what you're here for us today is to seek our approval and then to seek our approval to identify public lands that are owned by Clark County that would be feasible for this project, And then also, at least in my understanding, it would also require you to go forward and do a study and look into the feasibility of sites, narrow down the best site, and overall scope of the cost, and then to take that and take that to an investor. Am I correct in that? That would go to an investor. Have you identified some of the potential investors for this already, or is that part of the feasibility?
Yeah, so in looking this up and dusting it off, I think, last time we did this, we had everything in place and we didn't have the land. So the first step, I think, for us is to get a feel for land, because that's going to be the first question any investor is going to ask, where and what. So no, I haven't right now been approaching anybody about the funding of this project or the venue management and that. No, I haven't, but that would be the next step. If there's interest in Laughlin in doing some of this and looking at available land, I think that's the next step would be looking into investors.
I see.
Yeah, again, we had it lined up last time, and again, the person who was here last time, he would be my first to start. But this motorsports community, and again, this is so strong in Southern Nevada. There's some very prominent families that are all off-road racing and in this space. So whether it's one of them that want to step up and get involved, if not, they do know the network of people. And I think Las Vegas Events, we've had a history in working with a lot of them over the years that we can begin the discussions.
Okay. All right. And what are some of the proposed sites that you are considering? Do we have those?
Tammy, can you put that up and zoom in on the sites? So based on your last comprehensive planning meeting that you had 2 weeks ago,
Oh, yeah.
I was afforded a copy of that, and we looked at the public, they're called public facilities uses, which are the dark green. In order for people to see it, I circled the dark green spots. The one at the bottom is closest to the Cobb turnoff to Neal's Highway. There's a nice parcel right there.
Jackie, can you go back to the microphone?
Sorry.
That's okay. You
There's a
helped me
nice-
earlier. I'm helping you now.
There's a nice parcel down there by Makov. And then if you look north towards 163, we have where the Tortoise Run Golf Course was supposed to be created back in the day. I think it was before 2010.
2005.
2005. So that land, all those little green boxes are available for public use facilities. So there is, and with the wind going north and south in our valley, we would hate for it to be anywhere east or west of our township. We want to help the township by not blowing dust immediately upon those who reside here. So being the farthest north or the farthest south would be the prime locations for a facility like this, because there is dust when you work on the dirt tracks. I'm also wanting to verify with you that, yes, we did a presentation in front of the LTC. The only people that are not on the LTC are Laughlin River Lodge and the Riverside at this point. Riverside had a private conversation with Dale on the side, and they were all for it and asked me to move forward with telling Dale he could do a presentation if you so awarded him an agenda item.
Okay. So the 3 parcels up in the top area are near the landfill, the Tortoise Run, and basically adjacent to 163 there.
That's correct.
And then I think there is a small piece near the...
Very small piece, yes.
A small piece near the generation station. Was that the Laughlin property, or is that just a super small piece there?
It's a super small piece.
Okay, and down below in what we know of the CRC land that was given to Clark County, that is the Southlands project. That is near where the new bridge will connect, am I correct there?
Yes.
And that's
so-
public facilities land?
Correct. It's part of the Colorado River Commission property of the 9,000 acres.
Okay,
And if you look immediately north of my pink circle
yes,
and go northeast just a little bit, that is where the new bridge is coming out.
okay,
Kind of.
A little bit north of
By
it?
inches, it would probably be 4 inches above Makov.
I see.
Turn off on this present screen.
okay, so that is a good connector there then, okay. And so we basically have identified those as public facility lands that it could go on. And one of the events, I know we lost, did we lose Snore this last year or year before?
We lost it in 2020 due to our non-gathering requirements.
I see.
So they
Okay.
went to Glen Helen. We also lost another race to Kingman,
To Kingman, I see.
and of course to Parker.
Okay, and one of the reasons, at least if I'm understanding, just because I also sit on the board for the chamber, one of the reasons that we've looked at, and it has helped facilitate having the event center and then having one of these, is when we bring special events like this, typically our promoters have to go and they have to get a dust permit, and they have to get a health permit, and they have to get,
BOR, BLM, Clark
yeah,
County Parks and
exactly.
Recreation.
And then they also have to post insurance bonds for security details and things like that on a different location depending where that is. And if we go through the process with Clark County, all of those needs and qualifications would be met so that there would be a much more prevalent chance of us having events all the time going at that event center, because individual promotions or events wouldn't need a separate permit from 11
Correct.
different agencies every time they went there.
Yes, and I'd like to kind of hit on what Dale said. The motorsports trend is going crazy. It has been building for years. I don't know how many of you know people that do motorsports, especially off-road. I'm a motorsports freak, so I go to races almost every weekend. But for the off-road and for the track, there are people that follow not only because they drive in it or operate off-road vehicles, but because they like the sport. And those people who own those vehicles, they're kind of influential and affluential. They bring a lot of money to the area. And we have a really weird kind of anomaly in that our hotels sit so close to any site that we pick. It's very convenient for those teams to be able to stay here, and we'll be able to fill some rooms.
Okay, all right. And the board, do we have any questions of the presenter?
Yeah.
Herb, go ahead.
Order. Is there a piece of real estate that's preferred for this development? Rather than just throwing all of these parcels in front of the Board of County Commissioners and saying, well, we just want a piece of public land. So they put you out in the Tules. It's hard to access and difficult to market.
For us too. We would love to. I drove him out to the land at Ahamakaw and showed him that one because that's the easiest for me to identify without land markers. I know where that is, but I would need someone from Clark County to walk those pieces of land with us, and also somebody who was interested in
Talk to the
establishing this
mic.
motorsports park.
Can you come to the mic, Jackie? I'm
And
sorry.
Also, anybody that's interested in developing a motorsports park would also have interest in its location.
I see. So is that something we would do during the feasibility study, is to identify the
Yes.
most financially advantageous site out of the public lands?
Yes, and the 2015, when they tried to do it, it was all because we couldn't secure the land and we had the people. Now we're gonna do it the other way and secure the land and potential sites, then get a developer, then do feasibility studies and make sure that everyone's on the same page, all at the same time. Instead
see.
of doing it in so many pieces and not having all of those expertise, all that expertise at the same table.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the time frame for this whole process?
Well, I think first step, if we get going, I can call one of the experts that I have worked with in the past about setting up a time and coming out here and looking at the land. I'd prefer to have an expert who has the experience in building motorsports parks and running motorsports park to look at the land. They'll know better than I will in terms of what location is preferred. But I could start on that tomorrow. But I think we can move pretty quick. We had drawings all done previously, so we could, I think, our contact that we worked with when I got him involved, that we were dusting this off and meeting with Golden Entertainment, he put a lot of work into everything back in 2015 and it did not hit. So he pretty much was saying, Dale, I'm here, I'm still alive, I'm still in the business, the whole thing. So get some, when this is more concrete, give me a call. I'd love to be involved, but I'm not in to do all the work without a commitment on the land.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I have one question.
Please.
I see how this is going to benefit all of the casinos with the rooms and the shows and the tickets and getting their rooms filled. How exactly is this going to impact our members of our community? Where's the benefit for us?
You're going to have, let's just say, 8 to 11 high-profile racing events that are available for sale. A great family entertainment on a Friday or Saturday night, and that's just what we know of. I think I would propose that this facility has lights. I want to make sure we can do business in the summertime when the heat is a little hot for guests, but again, there's a lot of availability. We talked a little bit, I know Laughlin had great success hosting rodeos, but the cost to do a rodeo and set everything up and all those costs, like we said before, all your costs get lost in securing bleachers and everything else. Now we have an event site. We have another opportunity with an event site with dirt, so I think we can start being creative at other events that the community wants. Las Vegas events, it's not like we're going to be able to sponsor every event that takes place here. So there are things that the venue manager who runs that facility is going to be active in looking to do events throughout the year. What I was showing in 11, those were just major 11 events that I see Las Vegas events assisting and supporting throughout the year. But I think being creative with those, and again, there's models of these motorsports parks around the country. Let's look at their event calendar. What are they doing on their non-major event weekends?
So you'd have employees, basically you would have prevailing wage jobs to build it, and then you would also have ongoing jobs to maintain the facility, because like you said, it wouldn't just be on the weekends. Hopefully they would rent the track space and stuff for practices. So it'd be an ongoing job for our community and prevailing wage jobs, because in the venue details, one of the things that is, it says it will include a complete off-road racetrack, a television area, RV camping section, start-finish archway, race control booth for having video or radio announcement, tech inspection area, VIP section, podium area, bleachers, I'm assuming, starter strand, and a full safety catch fence, piping for underground wiring, television timing, and scoring tables. So all of that has to be built.
Excuse me, if I know this board well, you guys are one board, one community, one mission. I kind of understand Kathleen's question in a different way than what a sponsor or promoter would. If you can only imagine, BMX on the Arizona side has gone crazy. Mm-hmm. On some weekends, they have 120 children on their bicycles competing 4 times a week.
Right.
That is an availability that this track could afford for our children on both sides. They can have a meet over here, and they can have a meet over here. The minis and the go-karts for children local, they can learn a new skill. They can learn a new adrenaline excitement. They can learn how to do new things without having to travel far to acquire those skills. And it's not just about ball games. These are teams. They work together, just like in NASCAR. My NASCAR team is 4 drivers. They work together. It's all about building that team, building the skills in them, and aspiring to be something different. So it just provides them with a lot of opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have.
So just to be clear, you're kind of answering my question. It'll be open to our public and our community to participate and take place in all of these events.
Yes.
Okay.
The closed part of the track will be the major part of the track, where all the fireworks and stuff go off and all that kind of stuff happens. But the long term, the long courses, like the 14-mile courses for Best in the Desert and Snore, those will go out and come back. And they'll still have their start-finish line in the motorsports park. And other motorsports, of course, just go around in a circle or go in short track races. So all that will be available.
Perfect.
For the community, it said RV park too. I saw that. Fred?
Yeah, I can also see ancillary businesses coming in here to support all these events.
Yes, and corporate sponsorship, naming rights, all those things would be possibilities.
Like we had the Anderson Field House and stuff
Yeah.
as well.
This isn't so much a question as an observation. Over this past weekend, I met a family from a little town north of Minneapolis who came in here with their son, who originally was scheduled for BMX racing in Las Vegas. They couldn't, for some reason, it couldn't be held there, so they moved it to Kingman, and they had the event there. They got done BMX racing, went to the Wallapai Lodge, and back to Minnesota. So, is there interest? I guess so.
Absolutely.
Okay. And one of the things we had, from our comments from Patricia Fisher, she asked for, are there any personal financial conflicts of interest on the part of those proposing or voting on the loan or grant? Are there any private parties who are expected to benefit from the loan or grant? I feel just to take an opportunity to disclose, I do own businesses inside casinos. If we have additional occupancy, definitely, that will increase revenue. So if that needs to be disclosed, on my behalf, that is something that, could possibly benefit me. But I've always held that anything that is good for the economic engine of this community is good for the community. So, is there any more discussion amongst the board, or would you like me to open it to the public if they have any questions of the presenter?
I'd just like to say thank you for the presentation, and this was very, very well done.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure to meet everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the public of the presenter? Does anyone have any questions they'd like to address? If so, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and spell your last name for the record. We're open to public comment. If there isn't any public comment, I'll go ahead and close that chapter and bring it to discussion amongst the board. And I just want to preface what I had said originally when I read in exactly how this is written, because having sat on this board for 19 years, I have watched presentations being given and having to come back before this board 2 and 3 and 4 times. So in my thinking, I like to move at the speed of business, which government sometimes does not. But I look to expedite this process by saying, okay, if we're going to have this event center, the motorsports park, it has to identify public lands, and it has to have a way to do that study financially. And I looked at the past history that maybe not everyone on this board has authorized, but that were authorized in the past for other developments. And Patricia Fisher is very aware of these things, so I appreciate her input because it helps me with my facts. That the board did approve on 8/13 of 2019, and this is subject to verification, but she's pretty sharp. A $60,000 loan, which was done for appraisals, and a loan of up to $800,000 for GC Wallace Consulting Engineering on the water and sewer portion of the Casino Drive project. So this board does have a history in the prior time that we had approved utilizing funds as a loan from the Fort Mojave Development Fund to do feasibility studies. And in this particular case, it was also for consulting and engineering on projects like this. So I took it from identifying public lands and giving the permission of this board, if we choose to endorse it, that they have the right to go before, of course, it has to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners, but they would have the right to go before those individuals in Clark County to have the discussions about the land, and that it was already approved from us and hopefully the BCC, that they would open the books and give them the feasibility studies and stuff to be done. Because oftentimes they won't do that unless it was approved specifically. And then in addition, I didn't want this board to have to hear them again to come back for us to be able to utilize utilize funding from the Fort Mojave Development Fund, and we can identify what that dollar amount would be to do the feasibility study. So once they have that, they can approach their investors, already have Clark County's approvals on board, which they'll have to go through major projects, and in major projects, they'll be dealing with air quality, they'll be dealing with water, they'll be dealing with that Southern Nevada Health District, all of those different, they'll be dealing with public works and infrastructure, you know, that allows that to all happen instead of getting one step and then having to come back to this board and back before the BCC. So that was why I worded specifically this agenda item. And I know we don't normally ever go into that much detail in agenda items, but that is what I think, if we do decide to support it, I think that is what we need so that they can take the ball and actually go somewhere with it instead of just dribble. Let's do a basketball analogy. Does anyone have any comments?
I think we should make the motion to move forward.
Do we have a dollar amount to limit from Fort Mojave Development Fund for the feasibility study? Do we want to? We approved, now it's kind of a little different. In the past, we approved a $60,000 loan for just appraisals, and then a loan of up to $800,000. Here, they're talking to do a feasibility study, which is different. It's not quite as vast of a scope. And it would be paid back at the end of the project completion by the sale of surety bonds. It would be paid back to the Fort Mojave Development Fund. So my question is, do we want to put $100,000, $200,000 for the feasibility study? Do we have an idea from the applicant what he thinks the feasibility study would run, given the groundwork he's already done? We didn't hear that. So I'm curious.
Can you come back up to the podium?
Can you, we just have a question of you. If you kind of can ballpark us as far as fiscally, what would be, in your estimation, and we're just asking for a ballpark, what would be the amount to do the feasibility study? Given you have the access to the records and stuff of the public facility lands that are available through Clark County, what would be the ballpark that you need to create the feasibility study to go after your investors?
Yeah, I think you're at 5,000,
Oh,
$10,000 range.
okay. Okay, so if we do 100,000 for a feasibility, that would be a very exact.
Way more than we would need.
Okay.
In terms of, again, what I would think with the feasibility study is just kind of the overall analysis. Okay, here is looking at the project in terms of this would be the best scope of land, kind of construct some drawings for what we think the facility would look like, and then seating capacity, scope. Yeah, I think, even now look, maybe into a 25,000 should be plenty. I think
Okay,
that'd
in
be
the
fine.
past, this board approved a 60,000. We wouldn't be breaking a precedent or doing anything extra if we approved that.
So I will make the motion
Okay.
that we authorize up to $50,000.
Okay, so that's, okay. All right, so we have basically what the motion is to support the development of the Laughlin Motorsports Park, to enter into a lease with Clark County, a long-term lease, and approve the request for the use of up to $50,000 from the Fort Mojave Development Funds as a loan to fund the feasibility study to be repaid when bonds are sold for the project.
Great.
Is that the motion?
Yes, that's the motion.
That's the motion before us. Do I have any more discussion from the board?
And I second it.
Okay, and we have a second with Fred. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Your motion carries 5-0. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we will go back to informational items. And item number 1 is receive a report from Lieutenant Rogers with the Metro Police regarding activity and statistics during the past month and other crime concerns. I don't believe he's with us today. Do we have his little, is it in there? Did I bury it? Thank you. I'll be searching a little while longer. Okay. I'll go ahead and read a little bit of this. Calls for service in Laughlin. April of 2020, 192, and April of 2021, 388. That's understandable. We were completely shut down in April of 2020. So that's 102%. That's understandable. Calls for service in Searchlight, again, they had an 87% increase from 16 to 30. Traffic citations, 316. Searchlight were 51. DUIs, we had 5 in Laughlin. And battery domestic violence arrests, we had 7 adults. Bookings, our Laughlin had 55 and 1 out of Searchlight. There were no juvenile citations. I find that interesting. Calls for service, relatively standard breakdown of the Casino Drive area and residential area as well. So that is relatively, I think the same players are in the same positions. Okay, all right. Anyone have any questions on Metro?
That's
I wrote all over it. Okay, so moving to number 2, which is receive a report from Clark County Fire Department regarding calls for service during the past month and other fire prevention issues. Nope, no one from Clark County Fire. Okay. Receive a report from Will Smith with Clark County Water Reclamation regarding the status of the wastewater system.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, elected members of the board. Will Smith, S-M-I-T-H, with the Clark County Water Reclamation District. Reporting on the status of the wastewater system for April 2021. Laughlin Water Reclamation Center treated an average of 1.69 million gallons a day, producing clean water returned to the Colorado River. Back in April of 2020, the facility did an average of 1.02 million gallons a day, a difference of full increase 670,000 gallons per day from last year at this time. Sewer service complaints, we have none. Odor complaints, there were none. There were 15 call before you dig Laughlin tickets received for April 2021. And please see the attached report in reference to the influent monthly flow comparison throughout the years.
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
And then receive a report from Jason Bailey with Big Bend Water District regarding the status of the water system and discuss water conservation for consumers.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jason Bailey with the Big Bend Water District with the report for the month of April 2021. There were 260 acre feet diverted from the river. That's total year to date is 921 acre feet, which is pretty close in line with last year, but about 100 acre feet less than 2019. There are no major issues or leaks to report at this time. I did bring a few informational items at the back table regarding conservation. There are a number of conservation initiatives that the Southern Nevada Water Authority supports. You may have seen some advertisements or heard about some of them. One of our biggest conservation initiative at this point is a water smart landscaping initiative to ask residents to remove turf from their homes with a rebate of up to $3 a square foot to place kind of desert-friendly landscaping into their homes. This has been a very successful campaign for us for almost 20 years. We have now conserved enough, or I guess pulled out enough sod that you could stretch an 18-inch piece of sod around the circumference of the earth. And we have saved billions of gallons of water, and we're continuing to push this. There's also proposed legislation to be able to remove what we are calling non-functional or ornamental turf. This would be any turf that is basically stepped on by those who care for it or mow it, but nobody else. This is, like I said, proposed legislation to be able to do that within 5 years. This will save another 1 billion gallons of water annually. So this does not affect single-family residences. This does not affect schools or parks. This is mainly medians or kind of entrances to HOAs, things like that. And this is another conservation initiative that we're involved in. There's also some information on the back table regarding what businesses can do, water efficient technologies and things like that. They can receive rebates as well from the Southern Nevada Water Authority and work closely with our staff on trying to conserve water, businesses or multifamily properties as well. Like I said, there's some information on the back table. There's a lot more on our website, and we'd be happy to bring in more information or presentation if the board desires that.
Any comments from the board? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And receive a report from Haley Mayo, University of Nevada Cooperative Extension, regarding the status of programs and upcoming events. And we know Haley's not with us today. She did leave us a little bit of information. And the community, it says the community-based instructor position is posted and ready for applicants. Job postings available at UNR website and Indeed. For more information, email the hiring manager at hmaio@unr.edu. So that's a job position at her facility there. And the Laughlin Masters Gardeners will be hosting a home garden day at the Laughlin Library on May 19th at 10:30 a.m. And 4-H continues to bring programs to youth and looks forward to offering summer programming. Okay. So that we have from Haley. Receive a report from Jackie Whalen with Laughlin Chamber of Commerce regarding current and upcoming businesses in Laughlin, and also with her second hat, the Laughlin Tourism Commission.
Madam Chair, I would like to give the others opportunity to go before me since they've been sitting for so long. I know they have office jobs they need to get back to. We've taken up quite a bit of time.
Okay.
So I know Parks and Recreation is here. Would you like them to
okay.
go first?
Sure, we'll go ahead and receive a report from Parks and Recreation.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
Town Board, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jackie. Very kind of you. We appreciate that.
But now
I
you know a
apologize-
lot about motorsports, so.
Yes, we're very familiar with motorsports, so yeah, thank you. It was a great presentation. I apologize if you did not get our report. We've been ripping and running here a little bit. I did bring some extras here with me. I wanted to report that our Spirit Mountain Activity Center, the month of April, we have 9 programs going on right now. We had about 170 visits to that location. Senior Center programming, seniors who would like to participate in programming will no longer need to show proof of vaccination. Mask and temperature checks will remain in place. You must register for each class prior to coming into the center, though. The Las Vegas Culinary Pop-Up Pantry, thankfully and graciously, we had 60 cars that showed up at the Spirit Mountain Activity Center. I want to thank Kane for his graciousness. And it was a true pop-up, pantry, and it was greatly run, and a lot of Nevada visitors were there.
Great.
And that's my only report. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Not a question, but you probably noticed in the agenda that there's a reference to the possibility of erecting an entrance gate at the park.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't catch the second part of that.
Oh, there's a reference in the agenda to erecting a entrance gate at the park.
Okay,
The background on that, at our last meeting, a gentleman was here, and he acknowledged the good work and the stewardship exercised by Jim in the park.
yeah, Jim's great.
As far as I'm concerned, that park is pristine.
It is. It's a beautiful
It's-
park.
It's a beautiful park, and it's probably the finest public facility for showmanship and use of any public property in Laughlin.
We agree with you, and Jim's great.
The gentleman who was here indicated the abuse that is inflicted on that property by people who just come in, they drink, they party, they're in their overtime, they leave trash all over the place. And I think that something needs to be done. Number one, it would be possible to erect a gate to prevent vehicles from entering into that property after a certain hour in the evening. The hours that are on the sign that reads like a script.
Right, right. Close at 11.
No one reads it.
Right.
I think the hours on that are 7 in the morning till 11 in the evening. Well, on the 26th of June, which will be the longest daylight period of the year, I'm sure that at 9 o'clock at night, it's dark. And sunset is probably at least 45 minutes before that. So I think the hours need to be abbreviated. I think that a sign needs to be erected
Okay.
that says, what you drag in, drag out. And
I like that. Can we start putting that everywhere?
Yeah.
Every park we own. Whatever
Yeah.
you drag in, drag out.
okay. At any rate, I think that the board has an obligation to pay attention to that park and do more to protect it. And obviously, I didn't get this properly agendized, but that's because I'm the newest recruit on the board, and just don't know how to do it. But that's my interest.
Okay.
I think these things ought to be done. I am going to approach our county commissioner with regard to this and see that we can get some activity, and I would appreciate effort from your department also to bring these things about.
Okay. I will definitely mention to the director, and I'll also mention to RPM. They're actually the unit takes care of the parks maintenance, but I will definitely, when I get back, I will notify them of your concerns and the mention of the possibility of gate and maybe updating if it's possible. I know all of our parks do close at 11 p.m. That's a standard, but I will definitely mention to them all of your concerns and follow back up with Tammy.
Okay, and
Thank
if I
you.
can just add, Herm, we didn't get this agendized properly just because of the fact that with the work schedule Tammy has, and then trying to get a hold of her so that we could get an actual item on the agenda. We did try and follow up with you if you look at some of the emails that were sent, a week prior. And my issue, what I just needed to understand is if we did install a gate, at least in my days in law enforcement, we had Elysian Park there in LA that we actually did a gate service for. The LAPD went in and we did a gate service for them to close it down at night because that's where our police academy was. But I didn't know, and I wanted to contact you and find out, and we just weren't able to get it on the agenda, is if there is staff that could close it at 9 p.m. or if it was something that was a gate service.
highly paid Metro staff.
That's what I was going to ask, if that was a possibility of having Metro or the fire department do a gate service call at 9 o'clock at night and then open it up at 6 in the morning. Those were just things I was hoping to get it agendized with kind of a quasi-solution so that we would have that. But those were questions that we were looking to you for answers. I just don't know the hours that Jim works. I know he's there at some pretty off hours because I've gone out with my dogs late at, in the evening and he's there. But I just didn't know that. And so that would be something to take a look at and then maybe, have you look into it and we will get that on the agenda
Okay.
For us but there was just a few questions that we needed answered because we kind of wanted to have a solution already in place.
Yeah, and I apologize, Madam Chair. We've been all ripping and running, but
Yeah,
I
and she
did-
has a limited schedule too, where
Yeah.
she's off on limited days and she's got like 10-hour days,
I know
4
I-
days a week. And the agenda has to hit a very timely, it has to, there's requirements in the law that require when we post. And if we don't have any feedback or we weren't able to get a hold of anyone, then it leaves us, kind of like, well, we kind of can't put that on there. Because we don't want to put you on the spot with it being an agenda item for you to answer on and you have had no clue.
Right,
So,
I appreciate that. But I will do the research and I'll follow back up with Tammy once I get the information from the Parks Department. But that would fall under the RPM, which is the department that manages all of the parks.
okay.
Yes.
Fred?
I got a text message from a lady that had an event at one of the Ramadas on Saturday, and she said the trash cans were so full, and the question was, who could empty them? Do you have anybody working on the weekend?
We do. That's the contract one, right? That's ours. I will follow up with Jim. I'm not certain why, because Jim is on top of it, but I will definitely follow up with Jim and ask their schedule of emptying trash, and I can follow back up with you and give that information to Tammy. But we do appreciate customers letting us know, because sometimes we don't know. So if we know, we can get it resolved. I'm not sure why it wasn't emptied, but I will definitely, that is one of our locations that we do take care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
Any more questions from the board? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you again, Jackie.
And let's see, receive a report from Community Outreach Specialist Maria Jensen with help of Southern Nevada regarding weatherization program for discussion only. Is she here with us? Yes, there you are. Okay. You're hiding behind Fred, or at least for me.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Maria Jensen, Jensen. I work with Help of Southern Nevada, which is a nonprofit organization. And our goal is to help low-income households assist them in weatherizing their homes. So we're hoping to spread the word because not too many people are familiar with what we do. And our goal is basically, I guess there's a confusion that only for the elderly, but it's not. It's to anybody who is low income. So basically what happens is when they apply, as long as their income qualifies them, we send out an assessor to go out and look at their house. So it's a wraparound program. So they check out to see if the home needs solar screens, if it needs to be replaced or fixed with their air conditioner. They also check to see if your water heater is running properly or your refrigerator. In the event that they are not, they're either replaced with something that's comparable to what you have or they are fixed. All of these,
When you say they are, you mean the program replaces or fixes them, or they get a hold of the landlord, or?
No, that's what our program covers. And it's
Hope.
all free at no cost as long as they qualify for the program.
Oh, wow, amazing.
So
Amazing.
I think that one of the biggest confusion also is that we also do apartments, but when we do apartments, there is a 50% that the owner has to pay for capital, anything that is considered capital, which is your air conditioners, the water heaters, and so forth.
And what is your definition of low income? Is that the poverty level, or is it
Poverty
vary?
level, and I do have folders here that I made for you, and I apologize, I was running late.
Oh, great. And definitely be sure to get one to Kane, our media representative. Well, he's not our media representative, but he is our media for this, because that's amazing that you would, I used to be a landlord before the pandemic required me to sell all my properties, but that would have been amazing to, some of my tenants if they could have replaced that.
So the folders also contain what are the incomes that qualifies for depending on how many people are in your household.
Great.
And I guess another thing would be also if you are a landlord, let's say you have more than one home and you want to have your house weatherized that you're renting, the income is based on the person who is renting the home, not the landlord. So they're the ones that would have to submit the applications in order to be processed.
Yeah, but that's actually an amazing benefit to the landlords. If there's a 50%, HVAC units and stuff can be quite expensive.
They do, and I always try to explain to people to apply for the program. Don't wait until something is actually broken, because there is a certain protocol that we have to go through. So it takes about 2 to 3 weeks before everything gets done. And sometimes, depending right now with COVID, there has been an unfortunate where things are taking longer to get here. And so with that in mind, you want to make sure that you apply in time so that we can hopefully avoid that you having to wait 2 or 3 weeks because the refrigerators aren't here or certain vents are not available. So my thing right now is to apply before anything breaks. Don't wait until it's actually broken. And you are already paying for it. It's coming out of your Nevada Power EU Universal Charge.
Like a rural
And
energy
your
assistance
taxes.
program, yeah,
Yes.
REAP programs,
So
yeah.
you might as well utilize it, and it is at no cost.
Yeah, definitely. If, I know Kathleen and Pam, you have a lot of people that you know that would be great for. And then, if you could give him some as well, because like I said, I wasn't aware of the program, and I've been here a long time.
I came last year before COVID, and I tried to make some rounds, but I couldn't find like who to get a hold of, so I did leave some information around
Well, you're
the area.
welcome, you're welcome to come and let us know as well, how the program is being utilized, because it's the first I've heard of it.
Okay,
So-
I did bring some swag bags. I'm gonna leave probably about 20, and each one has swag items as well as an application, and they're in our phone number. I will say that right now, our particular building is under construction, so there's only one phone number that's working, and so sometimes it's hard to get through, and I just suggest that if you can't get through, try to go online. If you can't get online, to continue to try. Because there's only one person answering calls, and there's a lot of incoming calls that are being handled.
Okay,
So-
for the online, Jackie, if you, maybe from the chamber, just simply because some of our constituents don't do online.
And I
It's
understand that.
that
yes.
I wish I didn't do online, but anyways, God, would my life be simplified? But they don't, but Jackie, if the chamber could maybe help with that too, if you could get her some of the information as well, because the chamber has gone on, during the vaccines, they did a lot of the registrations for people that don't go online, which some of our residents just don't. So that would be good too.
I'm also available, so if you want to, if we could create an event, either at your senior center or wherever you feel will be convenient for you, I can come out and help them fill out applications. I can answer questions, bring out some more swag items and so forth. We just want, we're not seeing a lot of applications coming in from Searchlight or Laughlin, and we would like to kind
We'll
of
fix that.
help those people in need, absolutely.
I'm already creating a list.
Yeah,
for you.
we're already, I got these two going, Jackie's going, yeah.
Okay.
No problem, we will fix that, and I appreciate if you wouldn't mind considering coming back, in a few months and let us know how it's going, because like I said, if we get it in the media, the chamber's aware of it, Legion, definitely, I think it would be a big advantage to some of our people that are struggling, especially from COVID, and if your air conditioner goes, that's $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, that can be a
Yes, they
problem.
can get very expensive. I also want to state that if you're renting and your refrigerator, they decided that it's not energy efficient, that if we do replace it, we do have to take what's there. And if you don't want that replaced, then you can just say void, that you don't want us to do that. Just
I
so
see.
you can have that, be
Yep.
aware of that.
Makes sense.
Was there any other questions?
Nope, I certainly appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sidetracked now. Where was I? I'm like, I didn't know that existed. Okay. All right, receive a report from the Laughlin School System regarding the status of programs and upcoming events. Do we have anyone here from our school district?
I don't think so.
No? And receive a report from Tanya Brown-Worth at the Laughlin Library regarding current and
Do that
upcoming
after Jackie.
activities. I can read it fast.
Okay.
And then we'll have Jackie come, because she's doing that. Okay, Town Advisory Board, this is from Tanya Brown-Worth at our library, to report that the library is now open 7 days a week, and we're ready to serve you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call, and the number at the library is 702-507-4060. And here's some updates on what they're doing. I know they had my HOA meeting there. The branch is open with full services at 80% of total occupancy. Face coverings are required per Southern Nevada Health District guidelines. All stacks are fully open for browsing. Copiers, scanners, and fax services are available for a fee. They're offering free access to computers and Wi-Fi throughout the building. Wi-Fi is also available after hours in the parking lot. We have 2 study rooms open, both with a time limit of 2 hours, And at this time, there are no late charges or fees for overdue items, so they kind of did an overdue item amnesty. Magazine and newspaper browsing is available, and they're offering crafts in a bag to patrons for free. Each week, we have different crafts to take, so pop in and see the latest. Let's see, where was I? Curbside services are available, so if you'd like to have curbside, please call ahead to schedule. The One Stop Career Center will be reopening, oh, that's good, on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, starting on May 17th, so that's next Monday. Toys are not yet available, but kids and families can pick up crafts to go. That makes sense. The summer reading programs for kids and teens starts on May 15th, and interested patrons are encouraged to give us a call if they have any questions. Ebooks and digital collections are available 24/7 on the library website at www.lvccld.org. We look forward to serving our friends and families in Laughlin, and pretty much welcome back. Okay, so now we're going to circle back to Jackie with our chamber and our LTC.
Madam Chair, I apologize. My shoe just broke, so I'm barefooted. So, and that's not very respectful, but I can't wear it without tripping. So, Jackie Wallin, Wallin, President and CEO of the Laughlin Chamber. You have a copy of my report, and I won't belittle most of the little stuff in there and go through every detail, but you do need to know we're doing ribbon cuttings on both sides of the river, and places are starting to open and get excited about volume coming back. We are having a joint mixer with the Bullhead Area Chamber of Commerce to show off the field house, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have all stadium food and games, and everybody's supposed to dress like their favorite sports person, whether it's a referee or your favorite jersey or soccer player. And it's going to be lots of fun. They are doing a full tour again of that facility through the medical, culinary kitchens, back of house, and all that. So if you've never seen it from top to bottom, that would be a good opportunity for you. Volunteers in Partnership have helped us for a long time. They helped us again with the vaccination website, vaccination MVUs. They are meeting again tonight, if anybody's listening. They meet at 5 o'clock at the mall in the Styles for Less suite, and people are always welcome to go and see what kind of activities they're participating in and sign up to be a volunteer partnership. You sign up on an application, and then I do a background check on you through VeriScreen, and once you've cleared that, then you can volunteer for just about anything LTC, Laughlin Chamber, or other surrounding communities do in benefit of others. When we did the Mayhem, the Volunteers in Partnership did what they normally do during River Run, and they sold water. They had exclusive rights at the Riverview Mall for selling water, and thank you guys for your help. We appreciate it. We did make some money, but what was left over, I piled into my Harley trailer, and we moved over to the homeless shelter, Catholic Charities Homeless Shelter, right there on Miracle Mile. At that time, I asked them what their biggest need of anything was, because the volunteers are they're bored. They don't have as many activities as they normally do this time of year. And they said they were in need of gently used towels. So we started a campaign. We're going to deliver a trailer full of gently used towels. I'm sure when you open your closet, there is at least one towel that you wish you could get rid of and buy a new one, but we don't. So just fly by the chamber, drop off whatever towels you want, and they're in big need of those because they do walk away. People use them. They don't want to reuse them again because they may be soiled. So just drop off your gently used towels or any towels that you want, and we'll make sure they're delivered on July 15th. Membership, we're up over 300. I don't know how we did that, but the pandemic really provided use for our services, and the more services that they used, the more they needed, and the more that we were able to design to help the business owner. We have 29% of those businesses in Laughlin, and they are using our services primarily because it's a value. of budgetary value. Newspaper and radio cost a lot of money, and social media doesn't cost much. So for $20 a month for a small business, they can do all the social media exposure that they need, and it's really coming around really well. We did the Nevada Mobile Vaccination Unit of the first, second, and third. We had over 62 members of the CISILAC Get Out There and Get Them Vaccinated teams from FEMA, Forestry, Southern Nevada Health District. You can just imagine how many of those agencies were out there, 62 people helping us with that. And of course, the volunteers helped, and we did over 300 vaccinations in 3 days. We did 2 international, one from Brazil and one from the UK. They're coming back for the second rounds for the second shot from Moderna and Pfizer, and for still the one shot J&J. The second round PPP, I want to remind everyone that the deadline is May 31st. If you need help completing that application, you can give me a call and we can schedule some time together. PBS Outdoor Nevada, excuse me. One of those events is already played on PBS Outdoor Nevada, and that was the one on fishing the Colorado, but there are some more coming up. Episode 10, June 9th at 7:30 on PBS, and it's the Heritage Park Trails and BOR at Davis Dam. If you don't have any questions about that report, I'll move on to Laughlin Tourism Commission.
I just have one question or thing I was going to ask.
Yes.
You guys put out so much that's so helpful during the pandemic, but just recently, I think it was as of Tuesday, the RRF, or the Restaurant Relief Fund, is open and available the first 21 days to minority and women-owned or disadvantage-owned businesses. Is there a possibility, and maybe you already have it and maybe I blew past it, a link to that for anybody on the chamber website, a link where they can apply for that through SBA?
Yeah, so they just go to the website and they sign up for the newsletter, and every Wednesday the newsletter with the new programs come out, but every Friday, if you sign up for our newsletter, you get the COVID-19 update with opens and deadlines, and you get a link from every state and for the U.S.
Yeah, so it'll be there for this Friday, because it wasn't open last Friday, but I think it opened like Tuesday or something.
But it will come out in tomorrow's newsletter, in the morning newsletter, and then it will
great.
be in Friday's COVID-19 resource.
Okay, and there'll be a link where they can go to apply.
They just have to click on it. Yeah, they
Great.
don't have to go searching for it,
Yeah,
which
because
is what
that's
we're
a
trying to do.
huge, that's a huge benefit to
Yeah,
your
saving the
membership and our
business owner.
community. Restaurants, our little restaurant people.
Yeah, it just takes so much time to look for what you need.
Yeah, and to find that link to that website.
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions on Chamber? I'll just fly over to Laughlin Tourism, President and CEO of Laughlin Tourism Commission, Jackie Mazzeo. Jackie Mazzeo. I'm Jackie Wallin, Wallin. So hard to get used to. Rockets Over the River are still being scheduled for July 4th. Yay! Best in the Desert scheduled for September, both the second week and the third week. World's Toughest Mudder and Toughest Mudder is scheduled for November. Run Laughlin is scheduled for December 15th. Snore is in December, and a Laughlin Air Show, one of our our third meeting on producing a Laughlin Air Show happened today. It's in conjunction with the Laughlin Bullhead Airport and a consultant that we vetted out of I don't know how many applications for the best candidate to help us learn how to do an air show the right way and not lose money on it. So that's coming up pretty soon. Your new townwide concerts that have been announced are on the back. There are still some in the works, but have not been signed. So you'll see the name of the performer. You'll see whatever venue they're going to be at, the date that they're scheduled for. And that is it for Laughlin Tourism. Besides the motorsports part, I'm going to help them a little bit. It's Las Vegas Events Project. I am just assisting.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board? Nope. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's see. I'm totally lost now. Okay. Announcements. of upcoming neighborhood meetings and county or community meetings and events. This is for discussion only. Do we have any info from the board on upcoming events and community involvement things?
The only thing I'd like to say is that last Thursday, they approved the vendor who is going to be building the bridge, and that will be starting in the fall. They did not give it an exact date, but that's really good news to hear that it's finally going to happen.
Okay. Okay. So third quarter,
Correct.
basically.
Yes.
Okay. Third quarter 2021. Okay. Any other announcements, community announcements? Yeah, if it's a community announcement.
Yes, and the bridge will finish by second quarter 2023. So congratulations for all the hard work.
2023, okay.
Yes. So again, I'm Jackie Wallen, W-A-L-L. I'm going to switch my hats. I am on the board for the Rotary of Laughlin. We found a need, and we are going full bore on acquiring enough money to put a scoreboard up at Laughlin High School. They got a new turf, they got a new track, but they don't have a new scoreboard. So we started a raffle. The raffle's only $10, and you get, there's so many prizes. There's a free day deck boat on the lake. There are the slingshots for a day. There are $100 gift certificates to the market in Laughlin, all for a $10 donation. We have them everywhere. All the Laughlin Rotary members are carrying around these bags. It tells you exactly what it's for. The scoreboard is going to be at close to $40,000. This weekend we did a booth at the Borough Barbecue over in Laughlin because it's Rotary generated, and we made a little over $3,000 in one day. So I don't think it's going to be hard to do, but we only have a month. This finishes June 15th. So we have a month to see how many $10 raffle tickets we can sell. And 100% of it goes to purchasing the scoreboard for Laughlin High School and junior high school.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
They're being sold at the chamber if anybody just wants to stop.
Oh, at the chamber too? Okay. Any other announcements or community announcements? No? Okay. Planning and zoning, we have none. General business, we covered item number 1. We'll move forward to item number 2, which is discuss the proposed suggestion for the Master Plan and Development Code rewrite and take any other action deemed appropriate. And this is for possible action. This is just an example of stuff coming back before us that I think we could have taken care of last meeting, but that's my opinion. Okay, so basically this is now an action item. And we had the presentation on it, our meeting on April 27th. So given that and the questions that we asked, basically, I think the board kind of came to the conclusion that it was a terminology, phraseology type of thing, and getting a little better at defining some of the uses that were out there. And if there was anything that they wanted to change, or do differently, now's the time to let us know. If we felt the presentation was complete and we should go forward with what was presented, which is nomenclature changes and stuff for the development and zoning and master use, then we can go ahead and make a motion in support of the changes that are proposed.
I make a motion in support.
We have a motion in support. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, the motion carries. Okay. Tammy, is that good? Okay. All right, and item number 8, comments by the general public. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public about matters relevant to the board's jurisdiction will be held. No vote may be taken on a matter not listed on today's agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to our speaker's podium, state your name and address, and spell your name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote. If you'd like to provide written general public comment on an item not appearing on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of this body, please submit your comments to tammy.harris@clarkcountynb.gov before 10:30 a.m. the day of the meeting. Please include your name, address, and your comment. Comments will be read into the record, and no comments over 3 minutes in length will be read. All comments received will be compiled into a document and shared as part of the meeting's minutes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, please state your name and address. for
Karen
the-
Kirschner, KIRCHNER, 3279 Del Monte Street. This is about the signs on Highway 11 when you leave Las Vegas, coming out of Henderson to Laughlin. There is not one sign that says Laughlin. When I have friends flying in, or I go pick them up, they can find their way. I have other friends that have flown in who have complained about the GPS and trying to find Laughlin. There are signs for Boulder City, Kingman, Searchlight, Needles, California, Cal Nevada, whatever that is, Cal Navari. There's not one sign for Laughlin. How did they forget us?
I agree, and the board addressed it once before. Herm, I think that was yours.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
that
The
was.
only sign is on Highway 95 when you turn on 163.
Yes,
It says
that's-
Laughlin.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that should be taken care of.
Thank you so
Something
much
should be
for
done. Sure.
bringing, it still isn't fixed. Okay. All right, so our next proposed meeting date is June 8th, so we don't have a second meeting this month. Okay, June 8th might get a little dicey for me, just simply because I'm expecting a litter of puppies. So I may be birthing puppies. She's due between the 7th and 10th. Okay, so my vice chair, if we're in labor, I
We're
might
on
need
it.
your help. Okay, so next meeting date, June 8th of 2021, and with that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have 4 motions to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, we are adjourned.